Hello, welcome once again to our channel. In today's video, we'll take you through introduction to CSS. So when we say CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So the CSS describe how HTML are to be displayed on the screen, paper or in other media. So the CSS, the work of it is to modify or display how HTML elements should look, even though you can use HTML elements to modify your web page, but it is the CSS that we mostly use for that. So its work is to display how or describe how HTML elements are to be displayed on the screen. So that's the work of CSS. So why do we use CSS? Why shouldn't we use only HTML? If we can use HTML to create web page, why don't we use HTML, but rather we use CSS to describe how the HTML should look? The CSS is used to define styles for your web page, including the design, layout, and variation in display for different devices and screen size. So CSS has solved a big problem, and HTML was never intended to contain tags for formatting a web page. So the HTML was created to describe the content of a web page, like um, there's a heading, paragraph, and other stuff. So there are three ways of inserting a style sheet. We have the external, internal, and inline CSS. So I will start with the inline CSS. So for the inline, an inline may be used to apply a unique style for a single element. So to use inline styles, add the style attribute to the relevant element. The style attribute can contain any CSS property. So the inline styles are defined within the style attribute of the relevant element. So I'm going to show you example of how the inline styles looks like. So here I have my HTML element here. So this is my HTML document. So I'm going to apply the inline CSS style to describe how the page should look like. So first of all, I'll just create a new page for CSS, and this one, just like the HTML, how you name it, you create a new file. This one is my new file for HTML, and I'm creating another one for CSS. So the HTML is what, cs1.html, and the CSS one is ct.ccs. So just as you name the HTML, the CSS to, you just add the .css html.html. So that's how it be like. And this one, you just click on the exclamation mark, then you press enter, and it will give you the format. On phone, you won't get this feature. So I'll just forward the whole of this to you. Then you just paste it over there and you are good to go. But on PC, you just click on exclamation mark, then you press enter, and you see the doc type, the body, the heading, and other stuff. So that's how it is. So I'll just going to I'll just type my heading and also the paragraph, and after that I'll apply the inline CSS, external, then internal, how each of them looks like. So mostly it's the external one that we use, because for the inline and the internal, you apply all of them at the HTML page at the same time, and which will make your work um, loaded. But for the external, you will just do it at the page that you created, or the file that you created for CSS. You will just do everything over there. It's just a fresh page that you created for the CSS that you will do the external work over there. So I will do it for you to see how each of them operate. So as I was saying, I will start with the inline for you to see how it be like. So here I'm done typing the paragraph and also the heading. So I'm going to apply the CSS property starting from the inline. But before that, I'll right click then show you how the web page look like. So here you could see my work is I want to create some space, line space for my work. So to create a line space, you just uh, type greater than BR less than. So greater than BR less than is that one that you use to create line space. So I'll do it for you to see, and after that I'll click on preview for you to see. So I've previewed my work, and this is how it be like. You can see the paragraph, there's some line spaces over there. So right now what I'm going to do is to apply my inline CSS property for you to see. So to apply the inline CSS, I'll just type my I'll just type star. So the starting tab for body, I'll just type star over there. So for the body, I'll type star equal background dash color. Then the color will be blue violet. So here you can see when I preview my work, my background has been changed to blue violet. So this is how the inline CSS be like. So for the heading too, if I want to change the color, that one too, I'll just type star equal color, then you choose the color name, then you see the color is more like white. So that's that. The paragraph too, I'm going to change the color to as well for each paragraph. So that one too, I will just type star just like the heading, star color, then apply aqua color, which looks like green. Then for the paragraph 2, that one too, I will type star, then color. So these ones, you don't need to select the background color. It's only the font color that you are working on. If you are working on background color, you just select background color. But if you are working on font color, after you type the star, you just select color. Then you choose the color that you want. So that's that. So that one too, I'll type star, color, then choose anyone. Let me choose the blue. So after that, I'll preview my work for you to see. So here you could see for the third paragraph, the color is not all that deep, so you can't see the letters well. So you can click on the color, then you search for RGB, which is red, green, blue, and that's what the RGB stand for. So here I can now see the third paragraph. So that's how the inline CSS work. So you use it to modify your HTML document. So you use it to apply the color, the font size, the font style, and other stuff. So that's how the inline CSS work. So I'm going to apply the internal for you to see as well. So I'm moving on to the internal CSS. So here you can change any color. So this is how I want my background color to be like. So here you could see when I chose the brown color, you could see the letters and they are clear. So that's that. So right now I'm moving on to the internal CSS. So I will undo my work to start from where I entered my paragraph and my headings. So I will undo it. Then for the internal, that one you are not going to type the star in the font in the body and the heading. You just create a star for that. So right after the title, you just create a star for that. So you click on star, then the closing and open tag for star. So the moment you type the greater than, the less than sign, the end tag will come. Then you enter your body over there. So here, after applying the star, you enter body, then background color. So it means what? The body, I'm setting what background color for the body. So for each point or each heading that you want to change the format or the color, you just type it over there. If it is heading, you just type H1. If it is paragraph, you just type paragraph 1. If it is paragraph 2, you just type it over there. So this one, it's not like the inline that you have to go to each paragraph or heading, then apply the style. And this one, you are applying everything over here. It's more like you giving the overview of your work. So for the paragraph 1 2, just like the H1, that one too. This one, the only difference here is for the CSS, instead of the greater than and the less than, this one you will just type brackets close and bracket open sign. So the moment you type the P, you just click on shift open bracket and the close bracket will come. Then you enter your color or your background color and you are good to go. So that's that. This one is not like the HTML that you have to type greater than or less than sign. So for the CSS, the greater than and the less than sign, the HTML has been replaced by the open bracket and the close bracket. So that's how it be like. That be the difference between the HTML and the CSS. So that's for the internal CSS. So for the internal CSS, that's how it works. So that one, you use it to use it if one single HTML page has a unique star. So the internal star is defined inside the star, which is greater than less than star element inside the head section. So the internal star are defined within the star element inside the head section of the HTML page. So we are moving on to the external CSS, which is commonly used. So for the external CSS, this one, you will link the HTML file with the CSS file, and to link HTML with the CSS file, you just what type greater than link, then you give a space REL equal, then star sheet. So star sheet, in quotation mark, star sheet HREF, then you type the name of the CSS file. So the name of the CSS file is ct.css. ct.css, then you bring your less than sign to close it. Don't forget to bring that one. If you leave any of these elements, the linking won't work. Your HTML won't be linked to the CSS. So you have to make sure that you bring the greater than sign. So here I'm going to apply the properties over here. So just like the internal, the external, you will do everything here. So your work won't be clouded at the HTML. You will just apply everything here. You just type the body or the paragraph. So as I was saying, the body you type, then you hit on the shift key and the open bracket sign. Then you type background color. So the background color, you select what? Brown. Then after the heading, you move body, you move on to the heading. So H1, you hit on the shift, then open bracket, then color, you select the color, and you are good to go. So that's how the external CSS work. So for the external CSS, you can change the look of an entire website by changing just one file. So each HTML page must include a reference to the external sheet file inside the link element, inside the head section, and many more. So an external sheet can be written in any text editor and might be saved with a letter.css extension. So the external.css file should not contain any HTML tag. So as I was saying, it shouldn't contain any HTML tag. And you know HTML tag already, which is the greater than and the less than. And the CSS tag is the bracket open and the bracket close sign. Those are the CSS tags. So we are saying the HTML for the CSS or the external CSS shouldn't contain any of the HTML tag, which is the greater than or less than sign. So that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. See you in our next video.